Hi, in this lesson we're going to be looking at playing fills in between chords in a blues song, and we'll be doing it in a very standard 12-bar blues progression in the key of A major. So we'll be using the A chord, the D chord and an E chord. The tablature for this is available in a link in the video description beneath this video. Now I'm aware that tablature is useful, but remember that with this type of music, written music never really captures the feel of it, so that's down to your technique and your feel for the music, and listening to a lot of this kind of music as well. Now this is loosely based on a blues song known as Turn Your Money Green, originally by I think Ferry Lewis. There's lots of versions of it around. This most closely resembles the version by the great guitar player John Renbourn, and the version that Pentangle recorded. Now, as I said, chord wise it's not complex. We'll use the 3 chords in the key of A, the root, the fourth and the fifth. The particular inversions I'm going to use and may be unfamiliar to you. We're going to use a long A, which is a bar across the 2nd fret from the 4th string with the little finger up here on the 5th fret. Now the advantage of using this voicing of the chord is that you have the root note at the top as well as here, and you can play around the chord just using the top string, going from the root to the flattened 7th on the 3rd fret to the 6th on the 2nd fret that you're barring. So you instantly can get that kind of bluesy sound when you're this kind of thing. Also useful because you basically have the notes of the blues scale, which we will be using, right under your fingers in this position. So that would be the A. If we start here on the 3rd string, that's the root note. Then up here on the 5th fret of the 3rd string we have the flattened 3rd, which is the C. Here the 4th on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Sorry, before we get to that one, the E flat, which is the flattened 5th on the 4th fret, the E, which is the 5th on the 2nd string, 5th fret, and then the flattened G up there on the top string, 3rd fret. So we have, okay, so all those notes are readily available in that position right under the fingers. And just like the 12-bar chord progression itself, you really need to become familiar with that scale, both in that position and all over the neck. Now, so we've got the long A. The next chord in the progression is this inversion of a D7. It's an inversion because the F sharp note is being played in the bass. It's the lowest note in the chord. It instantly gives us, for finger picking, that kind of bluesy sound. Very good for fingerstyle because your thumb can rock back between the 6th and the 4th string. And then we got the straightforward E chord, or the E7, down here, or up here I should say. Okay, so in terms of the left hand, it's fairly straightforward. In terms of the right hand, we're going to be using for the most part this rocking bass or alternating thumb or educated thumb, call it whatever you will. If you're not entirely familiar or comfortable with that, then you should become so. You can have a look at my video on alternating bass. There's plenty of other stuff around on YouTube trying to teach you how to play fingerstyle with the alternating bass. Basically, the thumb hits the note on each beat of the bar and it goes back and forth, so it's like a little bit like a left-hand accompaniment in the piano. You're basically playing a bass line as well as what you're playing on top with the fingers. Okay, so refer to the tablature. It would probably be easier when you're practicing this, but your thumb is basically just going back and forth. So on the A chord, it's going from the 5th to the 4th, and while you're doing that, your fingers are going to fill in notes. This kind of style on the top string. Okay, so you play on the A chord, you play the 5th string, and then the top string, you've got your little finger down there, this position chord, then the thumb, and then the top string again. Back, and then the little finger on moves over onto the 2nd string. But you can play around. You don't have to play those exact notes, just play around with the chord yourself. Whatever you come up with, but practice slowly. You've got to keep that thumb moving, whatever you're doing with the fingers. On the D7 chord, the thumb is going to play the 6th and the 4th. That's the basic kind of pattern over the vocal part of the song. You can mess around with it, like lift the 1st finger off, so you get an open B, and then back on the 1st fret. Or you can put your little finger up here on the 3rd fret. E, to get that bluesy sound, put your little finger down, make it an E7. The thumb is going 6, 4. Okay, so you could play the whole song just like that without any fills. So you could do a kind of just a very basic fingerstyle pattern to it. Stick with me, baby, turn your money green. Stick with me, baby, turn your money green. I'll show you more money than Rockefeller's ever seen. Sounds perfectly acceptable, but we don't want to do just that. We want to fill in between those chords, which is what happens in a blues song accompaniment. So in between the vocal part, we're going to play some fills. Now let's go through those. So on the first one, you do the vocal part, and then you got this part here. So the first fill, we're going to play an interval, a 6 on the 4th and the 2nd strings. So we're only playing string 4 and string 2. First of all, barred, then 2nd finger and 3rd finger in the 3rd and 4th fret, and we're going to slide that 3rd finger up to the 5th fret along with the little finger on the 5th fret, and then back, which is similar to that just basic blues shuffle, you know. slightly different rhythm on it, so it goes. Okay, then we're into the D7, the vocal part. Now for the next feel, we're just going to go through that blues scale which I showed you earlier. So we're going to start with the little finger, pull off to the 3rd fret, from the 5th fret to the 3rd. Then the same thing on the 2nd string. And then the little finger over onto the 3rd string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, 5th fret, 4th string. And then we do a little triplet, hammer on and pull off on the 3rd string, 4th string, and finish on the root note here, which is the 3rd string, 2nd fret. You have to pull off. And that's a hammer on and pull off. So you may need to practice that technique of pulling, or you pull your finger down to the side. You don't lift it up. Okay. Then it's the D chord part. Sorry, the E chord part. To the D. And then we're going to do this little turnaround. Yeah. So this is on the 5th and the 6th string. Open first. Hammer on 3rd and 4th fret. Open 3rd fret, 6th string, and then open 5th, 6th string, 3rd fret, open 5th. Sorry. Okay, and that's the whole first part, the first verse of the song covered. Then we don't want to do exactly the same thing on the 2nd verse. We want to try and play a little bit of a variation. So the next fill in the 2nd verse can go, again, very simple little lick, just constructed around that blues scale. So it starts on the 3rd string, pull off to the 5th fret, hammer on and pull off, 4th string, and then 2nd string again. So slowly, little finger on the 4th string, 5th fret, back to the 2nd fret, 3rd string, twice. Vocal part. Then for the next fill we're going to play another interval, this time a 3rd. It's a bit tricky finger wise. You've got your 2nd finger down here on the 3rd fret, the little finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. You could try different finger in, maybe 1st and 3rd if your little finger finds it difficult to do that. So that's, and then 2nd fret, 1st string, 3rd fret, 2nd string. And then we slide twice, so it's like this. Then equal, D7, and then we're going to do this classic blues turnaround, this kind of Robert Johnson sort of thing, but we're going to do a version of it where we're going to play a sort of contrary movement thing going on the 4th and 2nd string and the 1st string. So it starts down here at the 5th fret. We've already got our finger up here, a little finger on the 5th fret, playing that long A. Put the 3rd finger down on the 4th string, play those two notes together, and if you can, bar the chord and play the 2nd string as well. So we got, slide that finger down, put this finger on the 2nd string, swap those fingers around, put the 2nd finger on the 4th string, 3rd fret, and the third finger on the second string, 4th fret. Okay, so it goes, and it finishes off up here with these 2 fingers down in the 5th fret. Okay, so going through it as slowly as I can. It's sometimes difficult to play it slowly. Second verse.